The last couple of months I was running primarily in Ultra shoes. However, in July I decided to buy the Asics Trabuco Max 3. A dinosaur of a shoe, to be honest. But how did it fare against the lighter, more minimal options? I'm gonna start with the specifications for the shoe. The Trabuco Max 3 has a midsole made out of FF++. Its stack height is 43 mm at the heel, 38 mm at the forefoot for a 5 mm drop for the male version. The upper is an engineered mesh. The outsole is an Asics grip with 4.5 mm lugs. The foam softness is 18.6 on the hardness scale, and the width at the big toe is 83.8 mm. The tongue on the shoe is a semi-gusseted tongue with the weight of 340 grams in my size 44.5, and the retail price is €180. The usual disclaimer: I bought this shoe with my own money. I bought it at a 10% discount from Eurosport Malta back in approximately June-July. I am not obliged to say anything to please the seller or Asics. The upper is a very comfortable upper. It's an engineered mesh. It feels lighter compared to the second version. However, it still runs a little bit warm. One thing that I like from the upper is the lace garage or a lace loop. Is literally an elastic band in the middle of the top of the shoes where you can put the laces through, so it holds them in place. It's very good, especially when you have long laces, which in my case, even the shoe does not have extremely long laces, but in my case, since I have to tighten this shoe a lot to get a good heel lock, I end up with a lot of extra lace. I just stuck it in there. The other thing, it has a pull tab. It's a pretty generous pull tab. You can pass minimum 2 fingers. For those who maybe need a high volume shoe, this shoe has plenty of volume. In my case, that's not an advantage because I have a low volume foot, and therefore I end up not having a very good lockdown. I add pads with the tongue and even add another insole under its original insole, so I reduce the volume. However, even with all of these, I still find it difficult to get a good lockdown. One thing which I am disappointed about is the gaiter trap. In version 2 they had the velcro at the back, and now it's completely removed. As I said, the tongue is gusseted. However, it's gusseted to the top of the shoe, which is a good thing for trail shoes, so no debris or stones can go in. However, it comes up to the second approximately loop, so if anything comes up from the top, it will just go sit into your into the shoe, especially with no gaiter. The width at the big toe is pretty wide, to be honest, especially compared to other traditional shoes. I think this is one of the widest shoes you can get, excluding Ultra maybe and Topo and some Innovate shoes. However, I still have issues in my big toe, especially on the right foot. The toe bumper is pretty stiff, and my toe, it ends up bumping into the toe bumper, and it gets pretty irritated by the end of the run. The midsole, as I said, is made of FF++. It's a very high stack at 43 mm at the heel. Is the highest stack shoes I have, especially in the trail running shoes. It is firmer than version 2, which it might be an advantage if you're running on slightly technical terrain. The FF Blast, I believe it's a very comfortable midsole. I think it is very durable at 168 kilometers. I know it's not a lot, however, it does not have any creasing at all. It still feels the same responsive as it was on day one. Again, it's not a very responsive shoe. It's more like a sofa. It's more generous on comfort rather than responsiveness. However, compared to some other midsoles I tried in the past, it's still a very enjoyable midsole that I would highly recommend. The shoe is pretty stable, it has a very wide base, however it's very difficult to feel what's underground, which makes it very protective. However, if you're running on pointy rocks or very technical terrain, sometimes you wouldn't realize that your ankle has been rolling left or right. In fact, the longest run I ran was around 35 kilometers in technical terrain, and by the end of it, my ankles were completely worn out. It does not happen with any of the ultra shoes, especially the Tim 5. However, with this one, it happened and I ended up with sore ankles for about 3 days. Again, most likely, if you don't have very technical terrain, you'll just be cruising through without any problem. Outsole is made of Asics grip. I really like the Asics grips, to be honest. I think it is on par with V-Brim. It has 4.5mm lugs. They're pretty aggressive and they have good traction on almost all terrain. I tried it in mud, wet rocks, loose gravel, and it did well across all these kind of terrains. It does not shed mud too quickly, it might take some time. However, even with the bottom covered with mud, it still does grip a lot. To conclude, am I going to reach 600 kilometers in the shoe? Unfortunately, I'm giving the shoe away for 2 reasons. First and foremost, the space in the toe box, especially the width at the big toe, that is causing me some good amount of pain. Usually my big toe ends up very stiff because I have turf toe, so that's a big problem for me, especially if I'm running long kilometers. If I kept it, I would have used it for road running more than trail running. Again, I find it very difficult to get a good lockdown. That has nothing to do with the shoe, it's more my low volume feet which are the problem. So I am giving it away to my friend so he can use it himself and maybe try it out himself. Definitely, I would not recommend it for fast runs. I think it would be ideal if you're using it for not so technical terrain where you're just getting those long kilometers and you just want something to cruise in, cushy, it absorbs all the impact and is easy on the calves and thighs. That was it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this review. See you in the next video.